Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Trailblazer Podcast, where we get the special privilege of hosting Benn Salas, a climate tech professional. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for having me today.
Of course. Now, Ben, for those of us who don't know, tell us a little about yourself, your background in private equity, and your
hmm
extensive networking that led you to your current experience in the industry.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's a long story, so I'm going to try to summarize it. I'm a corporate development attorney. Um, I went to law school, have a JD, and an MBA, STEM in data analytics. I've been working in corporate development and climate tech for the last, I would say, 8 to 10 years. I started working in consulting, as many of us lawyers. And then I wanted to go back into action or go into action. So I joined companies in house, which led me to, I would say, I think Holding Investment JS was the biggest company I've worked for so far. Pretty huge company, operations in 12 countries. I ended up leading the corporate development and expansion team for over 4 years. And then decided to complement my legal background with an MBA in data analytics. And that
Mhm.
took me actually to my real passion, which is climate tech.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, and maybe for those of us who don't know, walk us through what climate tech is and what that means.
absolutely. Well, climate tech is more than recycling. I'm just gonna have to say it. I was in a meeting the other day with it was at a conference, and someone said, "Hey, what do you do?" I was, "Oh, I work in climate tech." "Oh, recycling." I was like, "Yes and no." But most people think that climate tech is basically how we transition, from fossil energy to green energy. And that implies a
Mhm.
lot of things, not just the transition of energy itself, but also developing every kind of technology that includes materials, for example, so that we can actually live a greener life. I'm telling
Okay.
you, a laptop, has pieces, coffee cup, anything that involves actually making the whole process, the whole production, the whole product, greener and more sustainable with us human beings. That's climate tech.
Okay, so yeah, so maybe like go over with us like what is like a tangible example you could use that would be of climate tech.
For example, I'm very familiar with Greentown Labs. Greentown Labs is the biggest and the most prestigious incubator in climate tech in the world, not just in the United States. It's based in Boston. They have an office in Houston as well.
Hmm.
And they're an incubator. They have startups in climate tech. There's many things. For example, we can talk about solar panels, wind, any kind of biomaterials. How do you actually, for example, create those batteries that we're talking about with the Tesla thing, with the new cars and everything? How can we make that production more sustainable,
Hmm.
greener, so that we don't have to use, regular or average resources, so that the final product actually reduces contamination, but not just the product itself, but the whole process from end to end.
Okay. And are you working in all those industries or do you have a specific niche that you're working in the most?
I see myself more of a consultant.
Hmm.
So again, attorney, MBA. So what I do is my passion is about is scaling companies.
Uh-huh.
So that's how I've shaped my career, working in corporate development, something that you can actually apply to any industry. In my case was climate tech. So I see myself as someone who actually knows how to identify pain points in companies,
Hmm.
deliver a roadmap for success, and then once you follow that roadmap, you scale the company and just become more sustainable in time.
Yeah, so maybe go over with us like what kind of pain points are you identifying for these companies?
That's a good question. And, a lot of people, they forget about that startups, for example, the big ones, the
Hmm.
small ones. I mean, everyone thinks about innovation, which is amazing. I think I'm more on the side of, okay, the product is great, but you need a company to actually market that product.
Hmm.
So people forget that, for example, startups like H2OK or like Matter Works, they're based in Boston. They still have the need for, an attorney. They still have the need of regulations, compliance. They have the need for corporate development, private equity. They have to actually respond to investors. So my job is to help them manage all that process so that they can focus on the main thing, which is the innovation side, the development of the product, but the company keeps rolling, in a regular way successfully. Because at the end of the day, an idea without the right wraparound services is just going to stay as an idea, and it won't scale.
Hmm.
So you can never become a Tesla or let's say a Google if you don't actually know how to run a company.
Yeah, and you help with that. So, Ben, you may not have mentioned, where are you currently working now, or what are your plans?
Well, I have really good news. This just happened, so it's breaking news. I'm joining the Polarity Power team from Monday, which is amazing. I haven't told anyone, so that's breaking news for the podcast.
Hmm.
But I was working as director of programs at Surge until literally a few days ago,
Hmm.
and it was amazing. My job was director of programs. I was scaling companies, mostly clean tech, climate tech startups, to the next level of growth. Was working directly with CEOs so that we can actually help them achieve their goal.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't mind sharing, what will be your new role at your current company?
It's gonna be a leadership one. I think I will have to. I'll share more in the next few days for sure. But it's gonna
Okay.
be a good role. It's very close to my director of programs role, the one I had at Search.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you see your kind of leadership changing at all? Is with this being maybe a larger company, or will it be about the same?
It's definitely a larger company.
Hmm.
So it's a huge challenge, and I'm a man of challenges. I like challenges, so
Uh huh.
I'm excited about it. I'm ready to scale even bigger companies, not just the startups. Because right now, I would say that with Search, I was working with the startups, the small companies. In this case, it's more one to one with big corporations.
Okay. And what does your current company do? Like, what services do they provide and everything
hmm
like that?
Well, what at Search, what I was doing with them was basically it was a construction accelerator with a
Hmm.
high focus on climate tech. So what
Okay.
we were doing is identifying, first of all, pain points within organizations so that we can develop a tailored roadmap at the time. And once that roadmap was followed, they could scale and go to the next level of growth.
Hmm. Okay. And you'll be doing something similar to that in your next, or
Yes,
if you can't
in a
say,
much
no
bigger
worries. I'm
scale.
just,
No, it's fine. I can share some. Like it, yes, the answer is yes, in a much
uh-huh.
bigger scale.
Interesting. So
hmm
maybe like going back.
hmm
So you said some of these companies, they just assume climate tech is recycling. But how do
hmm
you educate potential clients on the diverse opportunities within the clean energy and
hmm
climate tech industry?
That's a good point. I think there's different stakeholders around the climate tech industry. You have the startups who actually are developing the ideas,
Hmm.
right? There is huge opportunities for like private equity firms, for example, to grow and invest in these companies, and then they'll turn into like the next unicorn, and
Hmm.
profits come all the way. So, first of all, I would say right now more companies or more funds are like focused on that, on like following startups, because we've passed from like having huge companies around us to just having new companies all the time. We have an Nvidia, we have a Tesla, and we have all these new companies that they just came up a few years ago.
Yeah.
So the focus of the market right now is who's going to be the next Nvidia, who's going to be the next Tesla, who's going to develop that kind of technology that we might not even know yet we need, but it's going to turn into a huge company. So private equity funds, venture capital, it's all over the place. I think they're being like very very well informed about it and the opportunities in the industry.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I guess you're right. I mean, every company wants to be the next big thing. So, but as you mentioned, these smaller companies, they're just kind of focused on the innovating side, but not a
hmm
lot of the regulations. And like you said, they may need a lawyer like yourself.
hmm
So,
Exactly.
tell us a little more about how you would provide value to a company that's just a startup and trying to be the next Tesla or Nvidia.
It's I think it's tough. Nothing is easy in
Uh
any
huh.
industry, not just in climate tech. But when you work with a startup at the beginning, the founder is the CEO, is the accountant. It could be like also supply chain manager, many things. Then you start
Hmm.
scaling. It's really hard to let go because in the beginning it's just the founder's vision and you got to execute it, and that's it. But at some point,
Hmm.
if you really want to scale, you got to rely on subject matter experts.
Hmm.
So my job is to show them and to educate them in a way to say, okay, if you created this company and this idea and you want to make it successful, then you
Hmm.
got to listen to me. Not because I said it, because I have the formula for it to work.
Uh huh.
So it takes a lot of like education with the CEOs and founders. That's why my job at Search was working with directly CEOs and founders.
Okay. Hmm.
Because if they believe in what you're saying and they want to work with you, I call it the waterfall effect. that the information is going to go to the management team and then to like the internal teams. So education with CEOs and founders is key in an early stage company.
Absolutely. I guess, yeah, you got to talk to the right person and got to get them on board, like you're saying.
Exactly. Hmm.
And with getting on board and with the rise of new technologies, how do you see AI as in the future of the climate tech industry
Hmm.
and being able to transform that?
Well, AI is something that is changing our lives in so many ways. I was just in a conference last week, and we talked about it, how AI is more than ChatGPT.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's the most basic AI that we have. But AI can be applied anywhere, like in any
Mhm.
manufacturing process. You can optimize this. You can speed up processes. You can use it for administrative like tasks as well.
Mhm.
So the way AI is impacting the industry, not just this one, but talking about climate tech, is huge. And you have incubators like Greentown Labs, for example, in the United States, who are actually focusing on that.
Mhm.
And every startup, I predict that every startup who's going to be the next unicorn at some point will have
Uh-huh.
integrated AI in their technology for sure.
Yeah. Maybe for those of us who don't know, explain what unicorn is, because I think a lot of people would be interested.
Sure. Well, Unicorn is a company that it was had an early stage,
Hmm.
and they just happened to get the right idea. They
Hmm.
develop it, let's say, in a year, and they went to $1 billion in a few years revenue. So that's
Yeah,
what a unicorn. So everyone is looking for the next unicorn these days.
absolutely. But going back to what you said, how is you said Green Shield, or is that right?
Greentown?
Or oh, so yes, my
Yeah,
apologies. How is Greentown implementing their AI and really thinking that's going to dominate?
absolutely. Well, Greentown is the incubator. It's
Hmm.
the biggest and large, most prestigious incubator of climate tech in the world. They're
Okay.
based in Boston and in Houston, Texas. So the way they do it is they provide all the support and the services that the startups that they have within the incubator need to get to success, basically.
Hmm.
For the radio of companies, not of, let me tell you something real quick. 9 out of 10 startups, they're meant to fail at some point.
Wait,
That's what
say that
data
again?
shows. 9 out of 10 startups,
Oh,
like they tend to fail. I mean, it's
oh
just
wow.
they work 1 year, 2 years, and they disappears.
Mm.
So you got only 10% chances that your company is going to success if you create your own startup.
Hmm.
Greentown has the highest rate of success stories in the world.
Oh wow.
So it's really hard to get in, but also the way they work with these startups is they educate them, then offer them like all the access to funding, network, technology, labs, everything that a startup needs so that you can actually scale and become the next unicorn.
And maybe like explain like for someone who's attempting to do a startup, like what would you need to have that, and like how would the selection process work, and how would you make yourself more competitive to be successful in that industry?
Sure. Well, first I would say you need to have a great idea.
Hmm.
I was speaking with the CEO of Greentown actually a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
and I was asking her like, what do you think would be like? What would you think? Who would you think is going to be like the next unicorn? So when you have an idea, you need to focus on what problem is that idea addressing.
Hmm.
So first of all, you got to be innovation is key. Something that actually makes people's life easier, makes companies' life easier. Number one.
Yeah.
Second of all, you have the idea. You need to have a company. You need to have the right talent by your side. You need to have the right key stakeholders to rely on them on things like compliance and regulations and finance. So you need all these like departments. You don't have to open like all the departments at the same time, but at least at some point you got to envision yourself. I'm gonna need a lawyer because I
Hmm.
have patents or like trademarks. How does that work? And the third one is a lot of energy and keep scaling. I mean, once you achieve a goal, like you gotta set up the next one and the next one, and the next one, and you just gotta follow that path.
Yeah, absolutely. And does your current company, are they in that same industry where they allow new startups to help them and to get them to that next stage?
Exactly. Yes.
And that's
Each company is different, by the way. That's something that I want
mhm.
to. I don't think there's a formula that you can replicate to all companies. That's
Yeah.
why, in my opinion, I always focus on a tailored approach. Each company has different pain points. Each company has different ways to like reach success. So my job is to identify those pain points on each company and provide a tailored strategy so that they
Hmm.
could actually scale.
Absolutely. Yeah, scaling and getting that revenue is the most important part. So with that, like kind of circling back, like how do you see and like what do you see as the biggest challenge in adopting like AI within your own company,
Mhm.
and how do you think others and yourself could overcome that?
Hmm. That's a great question. So I think AI is going faster the, than us.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of people think they know about AI, but once you get to know something, like something else comes up.
Hmm.
So it's just moving at a super fast pace right now.
Yeah.
And that's why there is a lot of flexibility when it comes to the regulations. There's a lot of the AI, processes and technologies. They're not being regulated. They're in the process of being regulated, but they're not regulated fully yet.
Hmm.
And we have a problem with, let's say, as an attorney, lawmakers. Do they actually understand AI so that they can regulate it?
Hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So
Uh-huh.
I leave that to you. but
Uh-huh.
that's a tough problem. Oh, it depends on how you see it. If you want to see it as growth for the country, you need regulation. Because otherwise, AI can be like it's great, but also you need to know how to use it and when to use it
Hmm.
for the right purposes. So I
And
would
maybe
say that's the
and Ben, like maybe where would you use it, and like how
mhm.
could you use it to improve your own and like others?
Exactly. I use AI,
Hmm.
for example, like different kind of AIs on my day to day, from like emails to like note takers and governance, and I encourage like all the companies that I work with to use AI, even like at a
Hmm.
very minimum level at first. But at some point, if you don't do it, someone else is gonna do it, and you're gonna stay behind, and you don't want that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like you said, it's transforming the entire world.
Hmm.
And how would you, for maybe someone skeptical and just thinking, I don't want to get in that, how would you educate clients with practical applications of AI to overcome their specific business challenges
Hmm.
and stuff like that?
I would introduce them to a minimum level of AI. For example, the way
Hmm.
I work, I was talking with this founder the other day. He was very skeptical. He still is very skeptical about AI. And then I showed him how much time he can save if he uses the right AI for internal processes.
Uh-huh.
And the guy cannot stop talking about it. And he
Yeah.
told me, I used to hire people for this. Now I don't
Hmm.
need to. So basic stuff, like very minimum level of stuff, I think it's a good way. You got to make it attractive. You got to make it, you got to show it in a way that it's going to be an ally to you.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, Ben, as we start to finish up our podcast, is there
Hmm.
anything else that you'd like to say to the audience? Anything that we may have missed? And maybe along with anything
Hmm.
exciting you'd like to share,
Yeah. I mean, I would
other than
say
your new job, of course.
thank you. But I would say there's a huge opportunity for, I'm talking about young professionals here.
Hmm.
Okay. There's a huge shortage of like climate tech professionals in the market right now. So if you're looking to go for a well-paid job, something meaningful to your career, for yourself, and do something for the world, go and see climate tech. There's a lot of opportunities in Massachusetts, for example. There is a shortage of 30,000 professionals in climate tech at the moment. So you
Hmm.
find the jobs everywhere. I think it's also time to start seeking or looking into different industries. I mean, we're not lawyers and finance guys.
Uh-huh.
Now you have AI, you have software engineers. So diversify your profile,
Okay.
who you are. That applies to that's what I do. So you gotta adjust to like the market, to the system, and if you do that, then you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, maybe jumping back, like what specific skills are most in demand for climate tech, and how would these individuals acquire
Hmm.
them? Like, what's your best advice for that?
Skills. I would say the first ones, especially when talking about startups, you gotta think out of the box. Because working in a startup is a different pace. I mean, it's not like
Hmm.
going to a huge company where everything, like the processors are there, like the procedures and everything, the departments, in a startup, it's a very fast-paced environment. Sometimes you don't have all the tools, but you got to create them. You got to be
Hmm.
proactive. Don't expect a 9 to 5 job. Being fully honest, um, but it's a great opportunity in many different ways. So,
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Ben, where can people find your work and stay updated on your progress and your company's projects?
on my LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn,
Okay.
I always share my network to anyone who is interested in. I built a strong network on the East Coast and on the West Coast in the
Hmm.
climate tech industry. So if someone is interested in just knowing more about it or just want to have an introduction of how it works, you can find me there.
All right, awesome. And I'll be sure to include your LinkedIn in the subscripts.
Sounds great.
So, well, everyone, thank you for tuning in to the podcast. And thank you, Ben, climate tech professional, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Thomas. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you.